Hello, welcome to Garden Technology. From planning to plate using garden technology. I'm Elliot Lawrence. I'm the 4-H educator in Lucas County. On the call, we also have Patrice Powers Barker, the family consumer science educator in Lucas County, and Amy Stone, the ag and natural resources educator in Lucas County. And while I'm very good with technology, as my two colleagues know, my green thumb is missing. So they're on the call today to help me with any gardening problems and also answer any gardening questions that anyone might bring up. Without Patrice or Amy, do you want to add anything before I get started?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to just go through some basic either websites or apps that you can download to kind of help your way from the planning stages of gardening all the way to the eating stages of gardening or the maintaining stages of gardening. And so the first step that we're going to talk about is the plant hardiness map. And this is done by the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture. And it's really helpful when trying to figure out what kind of plants you want to plant, and also when you should plant them. Hopefully you're seeing this this website, and this is what the web page looks like. And all you have to do is enter your zip code, and I already entered my zip code. I actually clicked on where I live out in Holland, and so my zone is 6A. The average minimum temperature is -8 degrees Fahrenheit. The range is -10 to -5, and that is the minimum temperature that I see out in Holland. Now, as you notice, the closer you get to the lake, the higher the temperatures obviously are. And so Toledo is actually in Oregon, out in that west or eastern Toledo or eastern Lucas County is actually in 6B, the 6B zone. And so depending on where you live in Lucas County, a lot of the counties in Ohio, if I pull back, a lot of the counties in Ohio are all, a lot of them are 6A. There's some interesting hotspots that are 5B, which is really interesting. I found out when I was researching this that the Knox County, right in the middle of Knox County, all of Knox County is 5B. I'm assuming it has something to do with the way the jet stream moves or something. I'm not sure. Amy or Patrice, do you know why there's this hot spot in the middle? Actually, it's a cold spot. I take that back. Why this cold spot exists in the middle of the state? Any ideas?
I do not know. That's a good question for our colleagues.
I do not either. The ones up closer.
What's that?
Obviously, there's effects of the water, near the lake, but I'm not sure so far inland.
Yeah, that's I was really bad, and this is not a particularly high spot in the state either. It's pretty level to the rest of the state. Over here, where would that be? Down right around where my mouse cursor is, just below Findlay, kind of in Marion, that area down here is the highest spot in Ohio, and it's still 6A. So I'm not quite sure why this is over here, but so this is your hardiness map, and there's a lot of other things that you can look at on this website too. There's a lot of different maps that you can download. And let's see if I can view the map real quick. So you can view you can actually download a state map, which is pretty cool. And then there's what that looks like, and it kind of shows you everything, the whole state and the 3 zones that occupy the state of Ohio. And so that is the plant hardiness, the plant hardiness website from United States Department of Agriculture. And the thing with I'm not going to go into real huge detail about all of the stuff today, because we could be on the call for hours if I did. Really, the really good thing to do is just get on here and play around with all of these. It's the same with the apps too. And just get on the apps and play around for a little bit. It might take you a while to get that perfect. Like one of the apps I'm going to show you later is a plant or is a garden planning app, and it's going to take a while for you to get used to how to do it and really for it to be helpful. But the biggest thing that you need to just work on doing is just getting in the app and or on the page and just playing with the information that's on this. So the next up, I thought this was really cool. This is the county auditor's website, and you can look up addresses. I went to realtor.com, and I just picked a random address that was on realtor.com. I went and picked an expensive one. So this is this house is a $500,000 house that's surrounded in red there. So the auditor's website has everyone's house, everyone's plot of land. It's all in this database, and there's a satellite image of your property. And so you might think to yourself, well, how is this useful? It's useful for quite a few things. It gives you a really good overview of what the property looks like, and it's pretty good. It's pretty high definition picture. It's pretty solid, and it gives you an overall view of what your property looks like. So that could be very helpful in planning. Also, over here in the options, in one of these options, and I can't remember which one it is now. One of these options, it has, I think, no, that's just photos. The photos section is a front photo of your house, of your property, a couple different pictures of ground level of your property. One of these will show you the different seasons. So it has a whole bunch of different pictures of your property in different dates, for different dates. Obviously, the auditor does not care about the season, but they're just looking at what the timeline of your property looks like. But it's kind of helpful for the different seasons to kind of see, especially if you're moving into a new property and you're not sure if these trees back here, take this property for example, if these trees back here, if this picture were taken in the winter and these trees were all bare, you would think to yourself, well, I can maybe plant a garden right here. And then you see these trees become huge, and maybe they even become bigger than this, but they become really big, and then you realize that your garden gets no sun in that area that you decided to do. So that's one thing. The other thing, which I think is really cool, is the measurements. So up here at the top where it says measure distance, click on that. And then down here, it's area. First, we're going to look at distance. So you just click on that, and we'll click on the side of the house, and then we'll click over here to the sidewalk. And it shows you that, we'll double click over here so it quits following me. It shows you that from the edge of this house to the sidewalk is about 40 feet, so 38.8 feet. I think it was actually 36 because this other marker went up a little bit further. So it's about 36 to 38 feet. So you know exactly, you have a rough estimate. Now, obviously, if you want an exact amount, you might want to go out and measure that. But this will give you a rough estimate of how far it is, because with satellite images, we're really not sure where the edge of the house is, depending on where you click it in. It can't get that detailed in order to do that. But that's one feature. Another one, and this one, I thought this was really cool. This one is area. So let's say you want to, it looks like they have a fence put up right here on this edge of the property. So let's say, and some, looks like there might be a flower bed right here maybe. Let's say you want to have a garden in this back corner of your property. You've determined that this is where you want to have this is where you want to have your garden. This is the best place for your garden to be. And so what you can do with area is you just click on an area, and every time you get to a corner, just click. And let's just try to make it a square. And then to release, you always have to double click, which I always forget. So that's square where you want to have your garden over here, and then you look over here. It's roughly 540 square feet, and so you can really easily see how much square footage you want to have your garden. So if you think, wow, 540 square feet that's a pretty big garden. That's going to be pretty large. So maybe I'll scale it down a little bit. So then you can get rid of that and start trying to scale it down a little bit too. Maybe you just want to do, half of that. So 202 square feet, and you think, well, that's a little bit better. I can manage that. So then you can take that and know how much topsoil, know how much fertilizer, and how many rows of plants you want to have, and all that kind of stuff with that. This and of course, the outline here is how much footage is in this property. I think that's in footage. I'm pretty sure that makes 99 feet. Yeah, that should be in footage. It shows how much footage is in this property, and so that's also very helpful if you're going to try to plan, if you want to do a fence row garden or something like that, and you want to try to plan how much square footage you're going to have. That could also come in useful. And those are the most helpful items on this website, I feel. Sometimes it depends on this property has no outbuildings, but over here in the side you can click on outbuildings, and it will give you a list of what the outbuildings are and the square footage and all that kind of stuff. Map is where I was just now. I feel like the map area is the most helpful in garden planning. And the obviously values, all this kind of stuff. Residential attributes, this will talk about the size of the house that is on the property. Not the most important thing for gardening. Really, the big thing, the most helpful thing, I think, is the map option, the map feature. Patrice or Amy, if you have anything to add while I'm going through these things, feel free to jump in at any time.
Well, I do just want to ask a quick question. So this is great that we have this aerial view and it's got the measurements and everything. So I like how you put in that square footage. So if I had put that in and it shows where I think I want it on my property, I can go ahead and print that off too then for myself, correct?
That is correct, yeah, yep, exactly. So if zoomed in too far. So let's say, you want to garden in the back corner here. And then leave I'm pretty sure this map image will allow you to see that.
It'd just be a nice way to keep garden records, especially if you're starting.
Yeah, for sure. Well, this is taking a long time to print.
Well, that helped give me the idea. So thank you.
Yeah. So up here, right beside where this is the print option, or you can download. I think you can download. I'm pretty sure you can download it as a PDF. When I was playing around with this site, I did download a PDF of a map. So I'm pretty sure you can save that as a PDF. And as I said, I'm pretty sure any marked areas on the map will print off as well. It's not doing anything. Okay, so then the next website that I have to show is the Veg Plotter, and this is a cool. It's a little bit more. The Auditor's website is like really data hungry, and it looks like something a scientist would look at. This is Veg Plotter is a little bit more friendly to use. The user interface is a little bit more friendly, and so what you do is you created a free account, which I've already done. I'm logged in here, and pretty much when you create a new plot, it shows up with just a blank, just pretty much a blank canvas, and we won't go through the tutorial. And so then over here on the side column, you have all the different types of plants that you can plant in your garden. And this, the cool thing about this is that it knows what month it is. So it's May of 2020, obviously. So it knows automatically what plants you can grow in what area you live. So when I created this account, I put in my address, and it automatically gives me the options for plants that I can grow. Now, if you go through this list and you think to yourself, now I know I can grow this other plant, and it's not on this list. It thinks that I can't grow it in May, but I know I can grow it in May. It does have an hide untimely plants, which is automatically, it's defaulted to having that clicked. If you unclick that, then a whole bunch of other plants will show up and be able to go through your garden. Because the other thing too is, if you're planting this out, just because you can't grow it right now doesn't mean that you wouldn't be planting it. So you can have some plants that are not being grown. So the way the plot is, this is grass. This is not necessarily your garden. And so to add that, you can either do a rectangular bed or you can draw a bed. So over on the Auditor's website, if you had a map of what your property looked like, and there was a curve in the back that you're going to follow that curve, this irregular, you can draw that, and all of these yellow boxes can be movable. So you can really manipulate it to make it look like what your property is. It'd be cool if if you could like upload the data from the auditor's website, and it'd be able to do it automatically. But unfortunately, the two websites do not talk together. But it is very it's very easily manipulatable, and you can pretty much set it on however you want your garden to be. And then after you have your garden bed put in, then you can start. And the way to put in your fruits and vegetables are you just click on the item and then you drag it over to your garden. And then there's also, you can reduce the size of it as well. So it's a little bit.
Do you know if that's designed right now to kind of show the optimal growing space? Do you think that's why?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that is I think that is exactly why it's a larger. You can reduce it, but I believe so when you click on the item, it goes through and tells you
the spacing,
a bunch of different data about it. So it tells you the spacing that it should be in a row, and you can go in and unfortunately it's in centimeters, and I don't know metric very well, but and I don't think you can change it out of centimeter. Well, look at that.
So that was under plot settings.
Yes.
I know where that's at.
Yeah. So up here in the gear, you can change it to foot. I didn't even realize that, which is nice because if anybody has trouble with feet, so so the spacing is 1 foot 11.6 inches between the rows, and you can reduce that as well. And I think if you drag it, it will actually reduce it too. But see, since it's irregular, it shows this area down here, so you can't have that overhang. So when it drops, when you reduce the size of the plot that it's taking, it goes ahead and reduces the amount of vegetables that are in that. And then over here is the same thing with the basil. And of course, as Patrice mentioned, basil is much smaller area to grow, so it's gonna be smaller on the map. And you can also rotate it. It doesn't have to be vertical. If you want to do a horizontal, you can rotate it as well. There's also an area where you can add structures to your garden. And so if you have any of these items that it has listed here, there's paving squares, there's fence, there's stone walkways, there's a chicken coop or a chicken hutch, or you can put in gates, you can put all different types of fences. You can put up a polyfunnel, you have a garden shed, rain barrel, wooden decking. It's pretty cool to have it has a compost bin as well. And then there's actually two different types. There's a plastic compost bin, and then they have a wooden compost bin as well. So once again, and then also on this website, there's some nice grow guides on here too. So it tells you exactly how to grow asparagus, and it gives you a map or a diagram of when the best time to plant and when the best time to harvest. How far or how far you should keep it apart from everything, that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, I don't think these numbers you can change into imperial. I think they have to be metric. And then you can, so this is, these are the things that, that you have coming up. So if you want to keep track of everything that you have coming up, this will fall into this, and it'll tell you exactly when to do it depending on what month it is. So right now, looks like you're planning out some things, and then later on in the end of summer, of course, we then would have to harvest. Does anybody have any questions? Patrice, Amy, any comments to add? This is the one that I did earlier.
This looks like fun to play around with.
It is a lot. It is actually a lot. Yeah, it is fun. It reminded me of, I used to play The Sims when I was younger. It reminds me a lot of that game. Okay.
Definitely application for a new gardener or even an existing gardener. And I think Patrice really made a good point about journaling or that historical perspective, and you could use this tool for that.
Yeah, for sure, because this saves everything is saved on the website in your account, and so it's kind of neat because if you want to go back, if you've been using this for the past 5 years and you go back 5 years ago, and it'll show you exactly what plants you had and what your garden looked like 5 years ago. I believe also you can share, so you can actually share your garden with the public, and it creates a link that will show you the garden, the finished product, and it won't allow anyone to do anything to it. It'll just show you show people what your garden looks like. So that's a kind of a cool option too.
Elliot, is there a similar app for perennial gardens?
Ooh, I don't know.
That might be helpful as well.
Yeah, for sure, it would. Amy or Patrice, do you happen to know?
I don't off the top of my head. I think that's an excellent question. Certainly some of my work and focus is more on the vegetables and edibles, but that'd be a great follow-up that we can look into.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the app that I'm going to show you shortly, if it can be, yes, it can be perennials. So the app that I'm going to show you, it's not as visual as this. It gives you information on when to plant and when to harvest, and it gives you some good information on you can keep track of how many you have planted and that kind of stuff. It doesn't have a planning where you can actually like visually go out and show where you're planting, but it might be helpful. I'll pull that up now. So the two next things that I want to show you are both they're both apps, and they're both available on Android and Apple. And so I am going to stop screen sharing my computer and screen share my iPad real quick, and to show you the app. Okay, so this app is called From Seed to Spoon, and if you go and search in your Play Store, um, From Seed to Spoon, this will come up, and it's 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 very handy to have, and it's you know, very portable because it's on iPad or on your phone. So this is my iPad, so it's a little bit larger screen orientation than what it would be if it were on your phone. So this is the first thing that you look at when you first open it. Actually, when you first open it, it's going to look like this. Yeah, it's going to look like this. And so then you can add, down at the bottom it says add plant to garden, and so you can add the plant, and it shows you what type of plant or what type of environment it likes to grow in. Acorn squash likes a warm environment. We'll just go ahead and add acorn squash to the garden. And so it gives you the planting date. On default, it gives you the day, as in today. And so if you weren't going to plant it today, you can of course change that to a different date. But we'll just, for the sake of just planting it, we'll just do it today. And so then the starting method, you can use different starting methods where you can either plant it outdoors, indoors, or seed, or you can transplant it from to the outdoor. So we'll start seed outdoor, and then the amount planted. We'll say 1, just 1, and then the planting location. Planting location, there we go. Planting location can be anything you want it to be. We'll just say in the garden. We'll say in the East garden. And then type, it gives you a whole bunch of different types of acorn squash, and obviously all of this stuff is winter. We'll say that kind. So if you were to plant it today, which we know we wouldn't plant it today, the seed sprouting would be in June 1st through June 7th. If once again, if we planted today, your projected first harvest would be sometime in the end of August, towards the middle of September. So if you change that to, let's say, we'll go with June 26th, then your projected harvest would be around, October, middle of October. So also there's a plant log. This is where you can check on, you can add different things to your plant, or add different things that happen as you're planting. You can add different what it looks like, how tall it's getting, whatever. And then there's notes, which the cool thing about the notes section is you can actually add pictures to the notes, and be able to keep those there. So save and close. And so then in your garden, so I did this last week. So I added banana peppers, once again, it gives you when the seed will be sprouting, and when the first harvest would be, plant notes, plant logs, all that kind of stuff as well. Also, the cool thing is it keeps track of everything. Everything stays in your account. So once again, on down the road, you can create a new garden in this account every year. You don't have to have the same one every year. So you can archive your garden from last year and have a whole new garden this year. And the other cool thing down at the bottom, it has a critters section. And so it tells you what the most common pests are. And it also tells you what you can do to try to get rid of those pests. And it tells you what kind of, so if you were to have plants, when you go to plant your garden, if your plants were susceptible to ant attacks, that would be listed in this area, the plants attacked. And then there's also a whole bunch of blog posts and that kind of stuff about that as well. The other cool thing about the pest section is that there's actually a beneficials pest section. And so some of these, obviously, as we know, are very beneficial. And so it tells you how to attract them. Bumblebees like natural landscapes. They like bee balm, and they all, and any other bright colored flowers and plants. They like purple, blue, yellow flowers. And it helps to have a source of shallow water for bumblebees as well. And so, and then obviously a bunch of, and the bees are going to have quite a few different things. Cats, that's my favorite. So some of the cats can actually be good and bad for your garden, and they can help with rodent control, of course. But you have to keep them out of the plants. And so you can have catnip planted in your garden to attract the cats. And then it even has a list for litter boxes that you can have. Probably wouldn't have a litter box outside, but if you had a garden inside, you could have a litter box. But it has a fairly large list of a bunch of different types of beneficial animals and insects. There's a tab down at the bottom also that has just weather. It's nothing very fancy. I would recommend another weather app if you really needed some weather. But it is kind of nice to have it all built into the same app. And it also gives a weekly forecast. And the weekly forecast, as this goes on, I don't think it'll report anything right now because because I haven't had the app installed long enough. And so as it goes on, it will actually tell you the amount of time that the weather has been below 50, and then how much the weather has been above 90. And I'm not sure, but I think you might even be able to set a warning so that it'll tell you if it's going above 90 or below 50. And then videos about gardening and about how to use the app. So if you're really struggling on how to get the most out of the app, you can watch one of these videos, and these nice people will show you very detailed videos about how to use the app. So that's pretty cool too. And then lastly, there's a lot of articles about gardening in general. And then there's quite a few articles about how to get started in growing your own garden as well. So this app I thought was pretty resourceful. Here's I did forget to, because we started out on the garden side. The plants side, the first tab over on the left actually has all of the plants that are pretty much any plant that you could think of, I would assume. And if you click on one, it will actually it will tell you a lot about on how to grow the plant, when to start the plant. It'll tell you the growing season, frost tolerance, how many are in a square, what size container would be optimal for it, sprout to harvest, how many days it takes sprout to harvest, sun requirements, water requirements, fertilizing, outdoor planning, seed depth. This page is, I can't believe I almost forgot about this page too. This page is really helpful because it has anything you could possibly think of. It has a resource for it. So if you think of a plant and you think to yourself, I don't know what I could, don't know a lot about it, but I want it. So you could go on this and find out how to do it. The different types of arugula, if where you could plant the arugula, the friends category where it likes to be planted by, and then the enemies category where it should not be planted around. What pests are common for arugula. And then there's also articles. This is pretty cool too. Some of them, some of the plants have more recipes than others, but this one does have one, a garden vegetable stir fry, and then videos of I'm not sure if this is just arugula, or it might just be videos. Yeah, it looks like some leafy plants. And so I think for a free app, this has a lot of really good solid information. And it also, I think if you click on the top, those icons up at the top, it actually tells you how arugula is beneficial for you. So each one has a different little write-up of how arugula is different, or how arugula is good for you. Does anybody have any questions so far? Any other questions? The Seed to Spoon app is probably one of my favorites. I think it's really, as someone that isn't very good at gardening, I think it's a pretty solid information. Okay, next up, we have an app a little less showy. Some of these apps are meant for an iPhone or an Android, or for Android phone, and so I found that some of them will they still work on the iPad, but you have to turn it up vertically in order to get it to work. So this is a Virginia Tech tree identification app, and while this isn't closely, well, it's closely related, but it's not hugely related to gardening. I thought it was a pretty neat app. It also allows you to think of what types of trees you should put near your garden, or if your trees are already mature and you're not starting out with the bare land, where you can put your garden. So if you have some tall trees, some of those trees might be okay to have stuff planted around them, and some of them might not be okay to have stuff planted around them. So when you open the app, it's really basic. This is it. This is what it looks like. You hit obtain location if it doesn't automatically do it, and so it shows you the woody plants of Holland, which is once again where I live. And so if you click on that, it will show you every single type of tree that is grown near Holland, which in Lucas County, it's obviously trees in Holland are pretty similar to trees that you're going to find anywhere else in the county, and really anywhere else in Northwest Ohio at least. But if you just pick one, we'll do the pawpaw. And so then it loads a fact sheet, and then it shows, if you scroll side to side, it will show you the different types of the different types of seeds and fruits and leaves, and what the bark looks like, what the trunk looks like, what it looks like fully grown, and then the growing area as well. And then if you click down where it says view fact sheet, it automatically pulls up the fact sheet on the pawpaw tree. As I said, this is very rudimentary. It's not quite as fancy and finished as the from the last app, but it's very informational, and it's solid information. You can trust it because it is from Virginia Tech, so it is a solid amount of information, and it gives you the basics about any tree. So if you were to if you had a pawpaw tree on your property and you thought, well, how big is this pawpaw tree going to get? So this is the pawpaw tree is a small tree, and it's can get up to 40 feet tall and 12 inches in diameter, and they're usually grown in small clusters. And this one obviously has a fruit, and it's very similar to a short, fat banana, 2.5 to 4 inches long. It also has flowers appearing slightly with or slightly before the leaves. So then you just go back and...
Good choice in trees, Elliot. It's actually flowering right now.
Oh, yeah. Nice. It's one of my favorites. I like the name. So the middle section here is plant ID help, and so you can if you're not quite sure what it is and you can't tell by the pictures, you can it has a few questions on what it is. And so let's say it has broadleaves, and it's a tree, and it has a compound leaf of 2, and there are no matching species. So we'll start over again. So the needles, scale-like with flattened sprays, and so it is. It might be the northern white cedar, or it might not be the northern white cedar. Hopefully it is. So then you can look, you can click on that and load the fact sheet, kind of look at the pictures and think to yourself, oh yeah, that definitely, what I have is a northern white cedar for sure. Now, if you had a northern white cedar in this area, it'd be a miracle because it doesn't grow a whole lot in this area, but that's okay. And then, of course, the fact sheet goes through and tells you all about the leaves and the flowers, fruit, twigs, and bark, and then the form, once again, a smaller, medium-sized tree shaped like an arrow. And then there is Dr. Dendro, I'm assuming is probably with plant pathology or something at the Virginia Tech. Not sure. Do you know a Dr. Dendro, Amy, by chance?
I do not.
I didn't know if that doctor was famous in the world of gardening or something.
So it might be just, so dendrology. It might be just a play on that word.
That is true. I never thought about that.
But there could be a Dr. Dendro.
That is funny. It probably is, actually. I never even thought about that. So it's just a basic form, name, email, comments section, and then attach a picture and submit. And I'm assuming then somebody at Virginia Tech will get back to you on any questions that you might have with tree identification. Any questions on Virginia Tech tree identification? And both of these apps, all you have to do is search the name, and the first one is From Seed to Spoon, and it'll come up. This first thing that should come up is the app. And then the second one is Virginia Tech Tree app, and it's actually called vTree. It doesn't say Virginia Tech or anything, so just type in vTree, and it will come up with that as well. So then, how do we take care of the plant? How do we take care of the garden after we plant it and after everything's growing? There are some really cool apps that will take care of if you have any insects or anything like that. So I'm going to go back to sharing my iPad. So the first one up is Picture Insect. And the only thing I don't like about this is I'm not sure. I think it's designed for phone too. Can't remember though. Yeah, I think it's a vertical app as well. The only thing I don't like about this is it's on it's a premium app, so you'd have to pay for it. I think tomorrow is the end of my trial period for this app. It's really good. It's a solid app, but you do have to pay for it. So if you're using it all the time, it's and I can't remember the price. It's a little expensive, I thought. I remember when I found the price, I thought it was a little expensive, but it is good. It's very basic. It's very easy. I actually use this app. I was in a hotel, and this is terrible. It's a very nice hotel. I should preface this by saying it was a very nice hotel. And you can never know if anybody works with bed bugs or around bed bugs. They say that it doesn't matter if it's a nice hotel, they can still have them. And I was in a room one time, and I I had this little bug crawl across my bed, and I've never seen a bed bug ever. And so I thought, I don't know what that bug is. It kind of looks like what I've seen pictures of a bed bug. And so I downloaded this app, took a snapshot. I killed the bed bug first, and then I took a picture of it, and immediately it told me, yeah, it's most likely a bed bug. And it also gives you pictures of what it is, and it'll show you different types of species of that bug and different types of the different sizes of the bug. The reason I didn't really think it was a bed bug at first, because it was huge. It was a very large bed bug. And so, yeah, it showed different sizes of it and everything else. Good app, but like I said, I just wish it were free. It's one of the best ones I've found, though, for identifying insects. It just identifies insects. It's nothing else. It doesn't identify plants or other animals or trees or anything like that. It just identifies insects. So if you're in the garden and you are trying to find out what insect you have on this plant and how to get rid of it, take a picture of it, and then do a quick Google search on how to get rid of that pest. So it's a good app, but unfortunately it's not a free app. Amy or Patrice, I couldn't find any. I mean, I found some decent, I found some picture or some insect identification apps, but they weren't quite as good as what this one is. Do either one of you know a good free one?
Not so much an app, but we get a lot of questions on our horticulture hotline. And so people can submit insects or photos of insects. And if we can't identify them locally, we have the Department of Entomology at Ohio State, and we can reach out to some of those professors for help.
It's a good point. Good point. And I do have a couple links back to our website at the end of the presentation. So if you're wondering how to find that information out, just sit tight, and we'll get you the links at the end of the presentation. So then the next one up is I think it's a really, really good app, and it's called Seek by, and of course it's not being vertical right now, or horizontal. Let me get rid of it real quick. There we go. Nope, it's not wanting to do it. So this is a cool app because it identifies a bunch of different things, and you can kind of see the most common things up at the top. It identifies plants and animals and insects, and a whole bunch of different other stuff. So all you have to do, similar to the picture insect, all you have to do is take a picture, and it'll come up and it'll show you what. Let's see. I did take a picture of some. I don't think it must not have saved them. I had a picture of some plants that doesn't look like it. And the cool part about this is also it's kind of like it's actually it would be really fun for kids if you have kids, because you can start a challenge, and it tells you it tells you a whole bunch of different types of things that you can find. And so as you find it and take a picture of it, it will keep track of that, and they'll give you points for how much stuff you take pictures of. So that's pretty fun. I mean, it's fun for anybody, but it'd be really fun for kids too. So this app is nice for trying to find stuff. It's tied in with the iNaturalist app, which is what I'll show next. And this app, the Seek app, is better for questions like, I have this plant that I have no clue what this plant is. Take a picture of it. It automatically tells you, it gives you a few options of what the plant is, what the option is, or what it could be. And then you can match the pictures to what yours looks like, and it'll tell you. Also, that does that with different types of animals too. Whereas the iNaturalist app, which is what we'll do next, the iNaturalist app is it's like an online community, and so the cool part is it will locate you, and then it'll have you in different. It'll have you go around and different people have uploaded different types of things, and so someone uploaded this, Joe Kurtz. This is from 2017. Wow. Joe Kurtz uploaded narrow leaf white meadowsweet, and so that's right around where I live, actually, and so you can see what other people are viewing and see what other people are finding. And it's also you can also, obviously, you can upload pictures of your stuff. And then the other thing, which is pretty cool, is guides. And so it goes with nearby guides and a lot of different. I feel like I have something in my eye. I'm sorry. I'm usually not bug-eyed like that. One of the guides is done by the common butterflies of Ennis Metroparks, which is in Columbus, and these are all the different types of butterflies that are found in Ennis Wood. It's pretty cool. And if you click on one, it'll tell you common information about it, a summary about it. Unfortunately, I don't know if there's not a whole lot of guides nearby here. I don't know if it's going on, because I'm seeing a lot in Columbus and Southern Ohio. I'm not sure, because I don't know. Not sure. Might not be a whole lot around here. And then there's also projects that you can join, and then there's featured that are worldwide. So it gets you in contact with people worldwide that have the same passion as you do for all things natural resources. And then there's also a nearby feature on here too. There are some projects in the nearby here. So Toledo Botanical Garden, looks like there's some observations, some hostas. And it looks like Owens Community College did a plant monitoring back in 2018. I'm not sure if maybe that might have been for a horticulture class, probably. But 486 observations, 103 different types of species. That's pretty cool. Oak openings, biodiversity. This must have quite a few too. So when you observe a plant, 186 observations. When you observe a plant or an animal or anything like this is pretty cool because it has different types of stuff in it. when you observe a plant or an animal or anything, you can have the option to add it to one of these projects. And so if you're in that area, obviously this is oak openings. So if you're in the oak openings area, which is the area that I live in, so I would be able to upload whatever I'd find in that one. I'm not sure if let's see if it has. Yeah, it doesn't have any requirements. Some of these might have some requirements. You do have to join it before you add it. Just click join at the top. Some news. iNaturalist published news on this section quite a bit, and as you can see, 2 days ago was the last one. So this is just a bunch of articles about different types of, that really looks kind of gross, doesn't it? Chimney building cicada nymph, nice. So it has different types of articles all about plants and animals and insects all over the world. If you go, the default view at the top here is map. If you go to a list view, it goes through and shows you the latest findings from around your area. So that is iNaturalist. I think it's a pretty neat app. It's fun to be in that online community with other people that appreciate the same thing as you. So I'm gonna go back to my computer.
So Elliot, I need to identify, I think it's a toad, not a frog, in my backyard. So I would use the Seek app, do you think?
I would use the Seek app, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, it should come up with, usually depending on what solid picture it has, it'll come up with a with a couple different options probably.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Okay, so here are some other really good resources. I'm not going to go to these websites because they're websites with a ton of information on them. But Ohio Master Gardeners website, and many of you that are watching are probably master gardeners, and so you're probably very familiar with this website already. Lucas County Extension, we have with the I shouldn't say we. Patrice and Amy have been doing a grunt of the work with really vamping the gardening section of our website. And so there is 2 areas that have a lot of really, really fantastic resources. Some of these apps and some of these resources for today came from those. And so lucas.osu.edu/vegetable gardening and lucas.osu.edu/make-your-garden-grow are 2 websites that are very informational and very helpful and in gardening and growing your garden. If you're not from Lucas County, every county in Ohio has an extension office, and the website to find that extension office is very easy. It's the countyname.osu.edu. So it's incredibly easy to remember. Just county name, whatever your county you're in, .osu.edu. So in most, correct me if I'm wrong, Amy, but most counties do have some kind of master gardener program, right? Maybe not.
About 60 of the 88 do, but there's
60.
a lot of cross-county lines if your county doesn't have a program.
Yeah, so quite a few still.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last but not least is, as I said in the beginning, I think it's a fantastic app. And I took a training, man, it's probably been about 6 years ago, at, well, it wasn't at Cornell, but it was done by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. And it was about how to teach ornithology or birds to youth. And one of the things we did a lot of stuff on is the Merlin Bird App. And it's if you like birds, you probably already know about the Merlin Bird App. But if you just like nature and you like being outside and you like observations, and I think in this time right now, we all need to be outside doing something. And so the Merlin Bird App is a very nice app. And I'll just show it to you real quick. It's once again, it's optimized for phone, because most of the time, if you're out somewhere, you're going to be on a phone anyway. You're not going to take your iPad with you because you might not have internet service. Merlin will work without internet service, and you actually download, before I started recording, so before you probably joined the presentation, but we were talking about Merlin, and it is a fairly large download in order to have the app. And the reason why is because it's meant to not have to require internet. So all of the bird species and all the information on the birds is stored in the app. And that's why it's such a large app. It's not pulling information from the internet, it's stored in the app. But so you just hit Start ID. I'm in Holland. Today is May 26th. We'll do medium-sized, robin-sized bird is what I found. They're, say, brownish in color. It was on the ground. And then it populates a list of birds that it could be. Mourning dove, that's my bird. That is the bird I was thinking. There are a ton of mourning doves around my house, and so that is the bird. And so when you identified the bird, it also has, this is kind of cool too. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it because I don't know if my screen sharing will allow sound, but can you hear it? There we go. Can you hear that?
Not on the computer. I think if I open my window, maybe, but.
Yeah, that's true. Well. So it actually, if you click on the little thing that looks like a speaker, it will play what the bird sounds like, which is very helpful in IDing the bird and finally really nailing down that is definitely the bird that I saw. And then if you click on Explore Species Details, it will show you a quick overview of what the species looks like. It'll show you different types of pictures from what they look like, and in different phases, in different places, what they look like together, and a whole bunch of other things. Also down here at the bottom, it has a sound section. And so it will show you different types of the song that they sing, and then it also sound what their wings sound like. Now, for a mourning dove, their wing sound is not going to be very spectacular, but some of the larger birds, the wing sound obviously is going to be a little bit louder. And then also at the bottom, it shows you a map of where mourning dove is. In Ohio, the mourning dove is around us year-round, and they do not migrate. And if they're breeding, they might go up to the north. So that is, as I said, that is that is Merlin. You can also take a picture, and we won't do it now because it'll take too long to download. You can also take a picture and it will upload. I think what it does is I think you upload a picture and it will show you what the birds are, if I remember right. So this Explore Birds will actually show you the birds that are around your area right now, and what birds will likely be around your area. It also shows you when they're most when they're going to be out the most in that graph. It's pretty neat to just go through the list and look at all the different types of birds. Any questions so far? Go back to my PowerPoint. Okay, and that is it. One thing I do want to mention, if you'd like the PowerPoint sent to you, go ahead, and I did do a really short evaluation, just kind of capturing the data of who attended. And so if you, and also if you have any comments, I'll put that in there as well. But that link at the bottom, go.osu.edu/garden-tech-eval, is what is the, I'm going to go ahead and put the evaluation in the chat box so you can just click on it. And at the bottom of that eval, also, if you're on a phone or you have your phone handy, the QR code in the bottom of the screen will go directly to the eval. So if you just take a picture of that, it'll go directly to that eval. So at the bottom of the evaluation, if you'd like the PowerPoint that was presented today with the resources, just put your email in there, and you can. I'll send you the PowerPoint. That is it. Are there any questions? Any comments? Amy, Patrice?
I can't wait for a rainy day to go play around with this. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Elliot.
Thank you.